Speakers on the dais and friends, just to tell you what is this development plan. You know, it all flows from an act known as the Maharashtra Regional Town Planning Act. It's an act of 1966. Now, this act provides for two things. One is a regional plan for a region, much more than a development plan. And the regional plan shows what are the areas to be used for what purpose and what is required in public interest. Like it shows how many hospitals are required in this region, how many bus stops are required, how many bus bays are required, then which is the nearest place where you can take the people to be cured, education institutions, so on and so forth. So there's a regional plan for a bigger area, and a development plan is for smaller areas, so that in this region, the development plan helps in achieving what the regional plan has. I'm saying so because, unfortunately, this development plan which is prepared as a draft has no reference to regional plan at all. And I'll tell you why. If there are enough reservations as far as school is concerned, or enough reservations as far as RG is concerned in a locality, question is, do you require more RG? RG is a regulation down. Do you require or don't require? Because tomorrow it could be my house which has a big open space around my house, and they might say that, oh, this place is open, so why don't we reserve this place for RG? And it has happened in the development plan. Therefore, the two things we must study very carefully is that how does the development plan today help us in achieving what the regional plan defines? Because there's no change to the regional plan. Regional plan is the same one which is prepared by them in 1991, and this is for the purpose of giving effect to a regional plan. Okay. Second thing which I share with you very, very seriously is this: the need to raise objections. I'll tell you what had happened. In Bombay, after 1991, because every Town Planning Act has got a DC regulation, the Development Control Regulation. And the DC regulation in Bombay came in 1991. Basic FSI, as Chandrasekhar has told you, Island City was 1.33, suburbs was 1. Now, in Island City, this is under DCR 32 and 33. Under DC regulation 33, there was an exception to 1.33. What were the exceptions? There were three exceptions. One is under 33.7, they said that whatever buildings are cessed category buildings, the cess category buildings were only predominant in the island city till Mahim. These are buildings which were constructed prior to 1940, prior to 1969. So A, B and C were cess category buildings. What they said, that these buildings can get unlimited FSI depending upon what is the rehabilitation component. Now, FSI base is 1.33. The logic was this: suppose there are, like in the docks, there were some families residing even about 50 or 60 square feet of tenements having common toilets outside. They said, look, a person cannot live in a 60 square feet tenement. Therefore, the minimum area should be 180, if under 250, now this 300. So minimum is 300. Suppose there's a building where the FSI 1.33 is only 5,000. And the families residing over there, for them to get a decent housing of about 250 square feet, the FSI required for rehabilitation is, for example, 20,000 square feet. So the DC regulation said that, look, no builder will come and construct, no landlord will come and construct, because why should he construct only for tenants? Therefore, there should be an incentive. What is incentive? 20,000 plus another 10,000. So in other words, for that small plot, you would get an FSI maybe 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. This was challenged to say that there's no reference to the roads, to sewage system, to the water system, electric system, because ultimately this is constant. So they said there is a factor which destroys. There's no equivalent more roads, better roads, or bigger roads, bigger sewerage lines, because they're already built. And there was a challenge in the court where I was involved in this litigation, and the court said, look, we cannot go into this issue now. Why? Because this development plan is sanctioned in 1991. It was kept open for the people to come and object. Either they didn't object, nobody took interest to object. Now it has become the law. And the lawmakers must have taken everything into consideration, and therefore it's too late in the day for you to come and object. And that's how this challenge was dismissed by the Supreme Court. Therefore, the necessity for you to really be alert and object, this is the time you must object, because if your objections are not taken into consideration, that gives you a right afterwards to challenge it in the appropriate forums. Okay. Now, as I told you, the old buildings prior to 69 in Island City of Bombay get special FSI. Why? Because of rehabilitation component. But what about suburbs? If you have got old buildings in the suburbs, because the cess is only for Island City, they pay cess to the repair board only up to Mahim, buildings prior to 69. But in suburbs, if there's a building of 1969 or 1950, they don't get any incentive FSI. If there's a problem that a lot of tenants are residing in the building, there's an imbalance, imbalance as far as city is concerned and as far as suburbs is concerned. Now, this is not addressed in the development plan at all, because this imbalance has to be removed. So this is the second point. Third point is, forget about buildings which are old. Suppose a society wants to develop its own property. Why? Because the families are increasing, or they've got small flats which are one-bedroom hall kitchen. They want to have a little bigger place because the families are increasing. There is no incentive for such societies, to come together and say that, look, we are entitled to get some little more FSI and develop our own buildings so that we have a better living conditions. There's nothing of this nature in this development plan. Okay. Most obvious is what happened in RA Colony. In RA Colony, there's a lot of criticism, which I support this criticism, to say that the green areas are being removed and they are being made areas buildable. So far, wrong, but at least you can understand that somebody says that there should be less area of green. It's wrong, no doubt, it's wrong. But very interesting is that a big 38 acres of land, where there is a slum over there in existence from 1970, they have proposed that this slum becomes a green area. Can you imagine that? That the slum should become a green area. That is proposed in RA. So, while green area is being made buildable, you are showing green area and a slum area, which is about 38 acres of land, which is in existence from 1970. So, this type of inconsistencies are there. One more thing which is very important is on the question of roads. As Mr. as Prabhu said, this FSI 8, now just see what are the components of FSI 8. Near railway station they said you can construct up to 8 FSI. He's explained to you all how 8 means 1.3 plus 1.3 plus 1.3 was 6 times more. Now, what they have done is this. 8 FSI, 2.5 is what the plot gives. Next 2.5, you pay 100% of the ready reckoner value to the corporation. Next 2.5, give 70% of the ready reckoner to corporation. So ultimately the money comes to corporation. 2.5, 100%. Second 2.5, 70% of the ready reckoner. And then today, suppose your building is in existence, where a portion of the road of your property goes to the road winding. They say that you can use the FSI which goes to the road winding by constructing on your own plot to some extent. Today, as far as TDR of your road winding in this formula of 8, what is kept is only 0.5% of road TDR can be used in any plot where you're going to utilize 8 FSI. So in other words, what you could get today, a benefit of building by giving a portion of your land for the corporation to build a road, these benefits go for small plots, because plots which can get FSI 3.5 and less, they can't use any road TDR at all. That's what the development plan says. Therefore, the question is, how do we take care of how do we take care of the cars? Which roads are required for the cars to be used, and roads are required also for parking. Nothing is mentioned as far as parking is adequate parking. Something is mentioned about parking, but nothing adequate to show that we are going to take care of the parking. Because on one side, as you know, in Cuff Parade, they were planning to charge those people who park vehicles on the public roads, But the new draft development plan does not mention how they're going to take care of the roads, the load on the roads because of increase of cars, because of increase of FSI, and therefore this is another grey area where we must be very careful as far as objecting is concerned. there is something mentioned also about reduction of open spaces. What is that? Suppose you're putting up a building. Today there is open space around the building to be kept open as a compulsory open space. They have made some reductions in open space, and there could be a problem because the Supreme Court has clearly said in one of the judges that Kohinoor Mills matter to say that open spaces are the lungs for the residents of the society to breathe fresh air and to walk and use it for jogging and whatever they want. And therefore, there is some concept of decrease of open space which we must look into. My suggestion would be that, friends, please look at the development plan very carefully, because make sure, Chandrasekhar forgot to tell you all that it's not RC and CR. RC means RC is residential and commercial, commercial and residential. There's also another thing known as industrial. Bandra will not be concerned about industrial. And another one known as NA. NA means non-developable, because it is eco-sensitive, because it's a green area. Now, make sure that any of your plot which is open is not called NA, because they may say that this is the only thing which is available open and we call it NA. Therefore, be careful to see where they have written the words NA, where they have written the words RC. If I can question them, why should there be any commercial activity in a purely residential area? Because as of today, in a purely residential area where the road width is less than 120 feet or 90 feet, there can't be any commercial activity. Tomorrow, suppose they permit commercial activity in the residential area, the load also goes up because people come there for commercial. You allow only the ground floor and the first floor, or the ground floor, first floor and second floor. But still you have the customers coming to meet whoever they want to meet in a commercial area. Therefore, please be careful to see whether what they have mentioned, whether they said RC, residential and commercial, so that you object to say, in our area, we cannot have any commercial use, keep it only residential. Thank you very much.
Thank you.